Okay, I think we got it. Maybe. Okay, I think we got it. Maybe. So I can hear myself, which is not ideal. Let's see. Should mute that. Okay, cool. I think we're up and running. My webcam, however, is not on, so give me just a moment. Sorry for the delay, everybody. There we go. Okay. We can actually get started now. We'll shorten that up. So that was a little stressful, but we should be good to go now, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, cool. I'm gonna check off using my phone as well real quick. Maybe. We'll see. Just to make sure we're all good. Okay, it says we're live. Turn down the volume just to make sure we're going good here. Okay. Gonna mute me real quick on the stream just to make sure the audio is good. All right, everybody, sorry about that. We had some technical difficulties, so that was kind of expected off the first trial run, but we are up and running now, so we should be able to get going. So today we're going to be building my athletes training program. It doesn't start till June 15th, I believe, so we have one more week on this current cycle we're on, so I'll be building the cycle for the following week. And we're just going to name this athletes June 15th through July, I believe it's the 5th. And I will just let myself see it and we'll get started. Okay. So this will be a lower body day, and we're just going to go through and just label some stuff like this first. Lower body, and then we're going to do just an exercise. We'll go through in just a moment to clean all this stuff up. But I just want us to get the layout done first, and then we'll go into the actual programming of everything. Then we'll do another lower body. This one will be a deadlift day. Just put deadlift for now. It's okay. Again, we'll change everything in a moment. And upper body. Okay. Perfect. And we'll do bench press. That's not how you spell bench press. Bench press. Cool, cool. Let me pull this up over here on my other screen for a moment. Perfect. There we go. Okay, cool. So we'll go ahead and just copy this throughout. We'll actually wait a little bit in a moment to do that so we can make sure to just go ahead and build at least the first week. So this first lower body day is going to be more of our max effort squat right here, squat day. And we will be using the SSB box squat at the 16-inch box. And we will be we'll do 5 to 7 sets to work up to a 5 RM. Okay, that's been working really well for us. We'll go week 1, 5, then 2, 3, then week 3, we'll do a 1 rep max. And that has been working pretty well, so we'll keep that in. I've also been putting back in barbell RDLs. Again, we're just going to be at a 3x5 there. And then RPE just 9. Again, we'll put athlete-specific weights at first, later on. But again, we're just going to start with the overall program outline before anything. So I did have a reference, at least I had thought I had a reference photo on my phone when I took a picture of the whiteboard the other day. However, I cannot find it. So I actually am going to try and find that real quick if I'm not mistaken. I think I posted it on my story. So we are going to try to look for that real quick. Because that would be beneficial, but it's not looking like it's on here yet. Yeah, so it's not looking like we're actually on here, which is not ideal, but that's okay. I still have a very good idea of what I'm looking for here. So again, going to follow this up with a hinge. And I've been liking getting in a single leg movement, and we've been doing dumbbell step ups, and I'm not trying to change a whole lot. So we'll just put that in there. We're gonna go two sets of 6 at a 9 RPE, and the RPE is kind of relative. Like I put 9 or 8 on a lot of things, mostly just to have. I got to fill the box until I can actually program their weights later on for each athlete. For that, so then right now we have a hamstring movement at the hip. We have a single leg movement. We have our squat, and we're also going to do a hamstring movement at the knee, which we're going to use razor curls. Um, Stephen Thompson of Voodoo Power calls in he uses this as his GHR. I'm going to have it separated just because a lot of my athletes have already been doing GHRs like the full way that you think about. So we're just going to call it a different name. And for this, we're going to go 2 by 15 for the time being. We'll see how that goes as I introduce them, and it might be adjusted. Okay, so again, this is going to be just a full outline / template. Remember, it can be adapted throughout our training depending on what I'm seeing in person. Now, we are going to follow this up with some low back. We'll do back extensions, okay, and just not as much sets and reps as we have been doing, since we will also be doing the RDLs. I'm definitely trying to limit what we've been doing. Like we're trying to cut back on sets and things and just take a little bit more of an intensity route. I think in the long run that will be better for us. Same thing, we'll do RPE 9. And then on this lower body day, we will also finish with belted march. So this day we're going to do 1 to 3 sets, and it'll be a 2-minute. For 2 minutes is what we'll try to do there. And I'm just going to put down 90 for now because that is our minimum. And then we'll go ahead and add in our metrics. We're going to go back to normal dumbbell jumps. We were doing seated for a while, and I wasn't as much of a fan, I think, as the normal jumps. So we're going to go back to our normal ones. We'll retest our broad jump for the first part of the week. And this is our day 1 lower body finished. Okay, for a pretty brief outline for the most part. We're going to come in, do our jumps, squat heavy, hinge heavy, go through our accessories, dumbbell step ups, razor curls, and back extensions. This is a pretty common day for us still, and it's been like this for a while. We'll adjust here soon. It'll be going through these upper, lower, and upper body days will be a little bit different. So for bench press, we are going to actually, this is where one of the biggest changes that is going to happen here. We're going to do a very, very modified 5-3-1 that's not really 5-3-1. Kind of like what we're doing with the squat here. We're going to try to do a 5RM within 5 to 7 sets. Okay, and then we're going to follow that up with a close grip 3 board to add more volume. In this one, we're going to be using brief maximal tension throughout this. Okay, so we're going to go super heavy here with the bench press. Okay, and then we're going to follow that up with the close grip 3 board, really working on the triceps and that top of the lockout. Okay, getting heavier weights in the athlete's hands early has, what I've seen so far, been very, very beneficial. Okay, then instead of chin-ups like we had been doing, we're actually going to start implementing the dumbbell rows again. I got away from them for a while, but I think I will enjoy these a little bit better. Dumbbell row, here we go, dumbbell row. And for this, we are going to go 4 sets of 10. And then we're going to go 9 here. And what I'd like to see is these dumbbell rows. We'll probably on the day 2 of the week, we'll keep these these dumbbell rows in, and we'll try to bump up to 12 reps. Okay, that'll be kind of the idea. Trying to get more volume in our back is my plan for this cycle when it comes to the upper body side of things. Okay, and then we're also going to do rolling dumbbell. Okay, rolling, there we go. Rolling dumbbell extensions. For this, we're going to go 3 sets of 10 to 12. And I'm thinking now that I'm actually going to do the 12. So I do like heavy extensions, but also based off my athletes right now, I'm gonna like to go a little bit heavier on or larger on the volume, trying to build up a little bit more muscle mass still. Which again, we're still gonna train these to a very, very high intensity. But the weight on them, thinking like a JM press or anything like that, we're not doing that at the moment. We'll just go into the rolling dumbbells. Okay, and that's going to be again like an RP9. Next, we're going to do some upper back work, more direct upper back work, which is going to be, we're going to see how this works. I don't know how well it's going to flow, but we're going to try to do cable face pulls. And it probably won't be the best way with our current setup with the cable system, but we're going to kind of see how it goes. We might end up switching back to band, but we'll start with this here. And we're going to finish with 2 sets of 20 and a high RPE. And then that would be our upper body lift for the day. Okay, so that is pretty simple there. For our metrics, we're going to go hurdle hops. And I actually need to add weight into here. Hurdle hops. And then this first day, we're going to go 5, 10, 5. Okay, and we're also going to have weight metric on there, as well as a vert metric if somebody wants to jump. I like to keep that on there. For the 5, 10, 5, we also need to do, let's see here. What in the world are we doing here? Okay, before I mess all this up, let's do this. What I was getting ready to say is we have been doing the OVR scores, which if you haven't gotten your own RVR score, I definitely recommend it. It's pretty cool to get the kids, the athletes, a playing card, basically to kind of see where they're at. So we're going to do bench velo test a few times throughout the cycle as well. Once again, I'm going to put body weight down here as well. It's in pounds, good. Okay, so this is kind of what the both upper body days will look like, but the second upper body of the day of the week will be slightly different. Again, we are going off the base program for my quote unquote more the advanced program right now. I'm going to have a separate program for some of the newer athletes and the younger athletes that don't need quite as much quite yet. They just need to keep refining more technique and things like that. But we'll get into that into a moment. Get into that in a moment. For this one, we're going to start with sumo deadlift, kind of that same set and rep scheme that we'll use with the box squat. And we're going to do a 5 RM. We haven't used sumo in a while, so I'm kind of curious to see how it's going to go. For this one, this is what I'm pretty excited for. We're going to actually change this up from what we'd been doing quite a lot, actually. Low box squat. So it is going to be a low box squat. We're going to be SSB 12-inch plus 6-inch foam box squat. Okay, so for on this, we're going to be shooting for 0.6 meters per second, then only go up once we can move that for 0.8 meters per second. So this kind of goes in terms with two different people. Jared Bidney of Explosive Mechanics, heard his podcast recently on Dave Tate's Table Talk. And then I talked to Stephen Thompson of Voodoo Power all the time, and he uses a 0.6 meters per second system to create an tension. And then as his athletes are able to move that specific weight faster, that's when they increase. So we are going to do 8 sets of 3 here. Okay, so it is going to be more of like a speed type day for the most part. So speed squat. But we're going to see kind of how this goes throughout. Again, this is more of an experimental look with the lower box. We're normally at a parallel or even a high box. I like to think of like building the strength from the top down, but it'll be a little bit different, and we'll see how it goes for at least this main group. Again, RPE, we do not know, but it'll be pretty maximal, or rather, it's going to be more of the dynamic, so not quite maximal, but that will be for the squat and deadlift portion, and then we'll go into, again, more hamstring variation. So, or posterior chain rather. Once again, we're going to go into the razor curls. We're going to stick with those because I think that'll be really, really good for the hamstrings. And we're just going to go by 2 by 15, kind of progress that in a pretty linear fashion if we can. Then we're going to go same thing with the back extensions. trying to milk out some of these exercises a little bit more than the past, and we're just going to pump those up by more weight. So I added the reps here to 2 sets of 15, and what I've really liked doing is starting, say, at 2 sets of 12 on day one. Let's say they pick a 55-pound dumbbell. We'll do that for 15 the next day, and then once we go back down to 12 the following week, we're going to try to go up. Okay, so that's kind of like the scheme of which we're doing progression on the things like the accessories. And then same thing for the dumbbell step ups. We're going to do, again, you'll notice that these are, and I'm going to recreate this order here in just a moment. These dumbbell step ups are low. All of the accessories are kind of lower volume for the most part, but it's higher reps or lower sets, excuse me, but there's going to be a lot higher reps. Okay. And I think that's going to help push more volume into those areas that need more work. Sorry for fumbling over my words there. So again, like I said, we're going to change these, the order of which we're doing these things right here. And honestly, usually what will happen is I'll have these kids, the athletes, come in and do a few of their accessories as their warm up. So if you're worried about me not getting them to warm up, that is generally what we do for time constraints more than anything. But then we'll also do belted march. Once again, you're noticing that the 2 days look very, very similar for the most part, and that is by design. Okay, we got to get really, really good at doing the very simple basics and the things that work, and that's what I'm trying to lean more into recently. Vertical jump, and we'll do just wait because we'll just broad jump that first day. If no one's there, if someone's not there on the Monday, we'll add broad jump to their specific calendar. Okay, so for bench press, this where honestly some of my bigger changes are coming up along with the lower box with the 6-inch foam pad. For the bench press, instead of the brief maximal tension system that we're doing with the close grip, which you'll see in just a moment, and I can outline that a little bit better, we're going to start using some accommodating resistance on this day. And we're going to start out with a close grip versus one chain. Close grip bench versus one chain. And I think this will help them in the long run being able to push through the top. What I'm noticing when coaching the athletes is we're actually able to get it off our chest relatively well, but that lockout is where we're struggling. And that's why I'm leaning more into the board presses and now going to try to get into more accommodating resistance to teach them to hopefully press through, which also might increase their bench velo test, which will up their OVR score, which again will be a good thing there. So we're going to do close grip versus one chain to start, and we'll see maybe how adding chains goes throughout the next few cycles and whatnot. Now, if I am going too fast and you guys would like me to slow down to explain anything, if you are here live, just let me know, and I'd love to go in a little bit more depth. Now, for this one, we're kind of going to do the same type of thing. We're doing like a very ugly modified 5-3-1 basically, and that's just the easiest way to explain it. But we're not really doing it like the Jim Lindler 5-3-1. It's just the simple, we're going 5-3-1 in consecutive weeks to work down. And then obviously, hopefully increasing weight when we're decreasing the reps a little bit. Now, again, the 5 to 7 reps, they're just taking within 5 to 7 sets. They're trying to hit a 5 rep max is kind of the whole idea there. Then we have the close grip 3 board again, if I can spell. Okay, close grip 3 board. And this is where the brief maximal tension will start. Okay, and what I really want to do this time around is a little bit different. And I had it written down the other day, wrote down the other day of the order if I wanted to do this. And I'm going to try to remember the best I can. I had it right down on the whiteboard, and then I forgot to apparently take the photo of it. But we're actually going to try to stick to a little bit more volume because, yes, we are getting away from the brief maximal tension with the regular bench press. So to add a little bit more volume, which generally for the upper body, you're going to need more volume to push those strength levels up. We're going to do that through the close grip 3 board again. And again, you'll also usually have a little bit heavier volume on you this way in general, at least with a 3 board. So hopefully that will carry over some more. So again, we're going to go RP 9 here. And then again, we're trying to just going back down and through the same program, the same training session as the Tuesday, what it will be a Tuesday session. If I can remember what I'm doing, dumbbell row. Again, we're going to go 4 sets of 12 this day. Again, just trying to bump up the sets real quick and maintain that same weight. And then we'll go rolling dumbbell, extensions, again, 3 sets, and then we'll go 15 here. Again, just trying to add a little bit of volume here and there with the same weight to slowly push that up. And then we're going to go cable face pull here. And I think what I'll end up having to do is switching this to the seated dumbbell cleans. And I have liked those recently. Oh, not Rem-X. The seated dumbbell cleans, just for the fact of we only have really one cable setup. But I'm curious to see if, because some people like to hit their accessories kind of harder right before they train. So we'll see kind of how that is. And I might kind of like, hey, everybody get a set in now at the beginning of the session, and then later we can do the same session or the second set and things like that. But we'll have to kind of see how that goes. And that will be the upper body workout for the day. And this day we're going to do hurdle hops once again. Then we'll go into a 5-10 fly. We'll do 5-10 fly. My app on the OVR has been weird on my phone recently, and I think it's probably on my part. I haven't gotten it updated correctly, but hopefully we can get the miles per hour, which has been weird lately. Again, we're going to add a vertical jump there. We're going to add a weight metric and then a bench velo. Okay, and then that will be the week 1 of training. And again, each consecutive week will look like that. But again, we're getting ready to go into the small differences that I'll make throughout. So what we'll do here is go ahead and copy this down to the next week, or the second week, and as well as the third week. And then we'll start on week 2 to make the changes we need to make. So biggest thing here for the day 1, we're going to go down to a 3 RM. Okay, then we're going to bring the barbell RDL down as well to 4. Okay, and those are the biggest changes we're actually going to make on this day. Besides, we're also going to bump up 35 pounds on the dumbbell jumps. Okay, I'm kind of reverting back to the other way I was doing dumbbell jumps, but I have a newer way of how I'm going to kind of cue it, and I'm going to see how that works. But I'm still going to keep testing out. If you guys have seen the videos on my either my Instagram or even I think I posted some YouTube shorts of it, that I did like speed, was using the VBT with the jumps. So we were doing that, and I still have that in the back of my head. But again, I don't want to take up so much time of testing that I don't keep pushing the needle, if that makes sense. So got to have some, I don't even know how to describe it, but that'll be more on the back burner while I try to help the athletes now with what has been working, and then maybe just try to do those things a little bit better, to a better degree. Bench press, same thing. We're going to drop that down to 3. Now for the close grip 3 board, this is where we get into kind of the newer brief maximal tension way I'm doing it. So the old way that I would do it is I would go for, at least for the 3 board, the board presses, I like to start out at the 6s with that to have a little bit more volume. I would go 6, 4, 5, 3, 4, 2. But I think I really want to stay in that, more in that 5 to 3 range, and never really get down for that 2s. So what I'm going to do here is go 6, 5, 4, 3, 4, 5, and we'll kind of see how that goes. I'm interested to see how it'll go, just because I feel like it will be kind of a hard build up trying to add a rep every single session after we get onto that 4. But again, we'll kind of see how it goes. So we'll go 6, 5, 4, right here, 4. Okay, dumbbell rows again, they're going to stay the same. The only thing that'll change here is we're going to go 110 fly. And we'll do a chain sprint, which this will be different for everyone once again, and then we'll do 110 fly there. Okay, we'll add weight down at the bottom there. Perfect. Cool. Now just double check. So again, once we get to the specific athletes, their chain number will be a little bit different for how much weight they're actually going to be dragging behind them, but we'll get in that too. So as you see, not much changes right here. Okay, we're just going to kind of push the accessories in a relatively linear fashion for the most part. Of course, we're going to go from 15 back down to 12. So hopefully we'll up by 5 pounds for, whatever we might be doing. Sumo deadlift, going into a 3 rep max. And then for the SSB, again, we're going to kind of keep the sets and reps the same. And then so this day, not a lot of changes on this day at all, except just the 3 rep max. Again, the dumbbell step ups truly will be like a linear fashion. Dumbbell step ups are very easy to progress, in my opinion. So leaving them at the 2x6, I think can be, they can be left there and be fine. Okay, so for this one, we're going to be down to a 3x3. Again, then we'll be building back up. For the close grip versus one train, we're doing 3. Another reason for the close grip on the chain and the 3 board is, again, I think we need to really build up our triceps just based off me being there and watching our athletes lift. And I think that will be one of the ways we can do that in a heavier fashion as well. Okay, so then the second day will be a 10-10 fly. Again, that's what we've been using for the OVR score. 10-10 fly miles per hour, vert, weight, bench, velo test. Perfect. Okay, so that is week 2. Now what we'll do is go into week 3. Again, just kind of the same small changes throughout. And this one, I really want to encourage the kids to keep getting heavier on those hinging movements, which a lot of athletes seem to kind of push back on the heavy RDLs. So lowering the reps on them can sometimes kind of motivate them to be like, okay, I only have to do 3 of these so I can do a heavy. And I didn't mean to remove the broad jump here. Okay, so now we'll go into, let's see, did I miss anything on week 2? Yes, I did. That should be a 3. Maybe that just didn't get saved. Double check if everything looks good. Okay, I changed it up here. That's what happened. Now, I really like the Turnkey Coach software. Shout out Turnkey Coach and Andrew Jackson and all the people there. But sometimes my brain just doesn't work very well, apparently. Okay, so bench press 3 RM right there. Sumo 3, 3, 3. Good. Okay. Next, we're going down to the bench press, and now this one will be interesting based off like kind of what you're about to see across the week and when it comes to 1RMing everything. But again, remember, these are high school athletes. They can recover really, really well, and we kind of haven't had a problem with this in general, okay? Again, we'll see kind of how it all works out and plays out, but this is what we got going on right now. So I just am adjusting these numbers, and then we can talk about them a little bit after. We'll do chain sprint, 110 fly. And again, if I am going very, very fast, just let me know, and I can slow down and answer any questions that you all might have of why I'm doing this. And if you think I'm doing something wrong, please let me know too. I'd love to have any info or suggestions. Anyway, okay. 15:10. Cool. Okay, I think we're good here. We'll double check and go through and make sure all of my sets and reps have been adjusted appropriately. And we'll start at the top. So for more of our max effort squat movement, we're going to stick with the safety bar at the box at the 16-inch box, and a couple athletes will get changed to an 18-inch box, depending on their height level and or their height in general, and things like that. But I've also played with the idea of just kind of keeping everybody at the same box. But again, we're trying to individualize it as much as possible, to the point of where it's like it's not like gimmicky, but also is benefiting the athletes the most. Okay. So again, the biggest thing that I got to make sure I get right is this bench press cycle. So for the close grip 3 board, we went 6, 5, 4, 3, 4, 5. So to describe what the plan is whenever you come in this day, do the close grip 3 board, and let's say you get 155 pounds for 6. We're going to drop down to 5. Hopefully you can get 160 pounds for 5. Then we drop down for 4, 165. Again, this is just all an example. And then maybe 170 for 3. And then what you're going to try to do there is take 170 for 3 and then do it for 4. And then maybe even try to do it for 5 is kind of the idea. So we're really forcing progression into the athletes there through the rep ranges. Again, I haven't quite done it this way quite yet, so I'm interested to see how that goes. I know building from the 3, 4s to the 5 will be a difficult task for sure, but again, we will see how it goes. And that is kind of the biggest thing that I think I see here when it comes to the overall template. But now what we're going to go ahead and do is assign the templates to the different groups, in which we'll do it this way. Go clients, Barbo. Okay, so we'll go ahead and paste this into here, the template, and we're looking for, let's see, athletes. Which one is it? Because there's 2 for some reason. Okay, so it's not that one. Lowercase one. Okay, this does seem to be right. Perfect. Okay, so starting date, we are going to be starting on the 15th. Workout titles, no. Pin. Okay, things look good there. Good. Perfect. Don't want to accidentally get rid of everybody's workout for tomorrow. Cool. All right, before we go into this, I'm going to grab a quick drink, and I'm also going to go turn on the air in my house. So I will be right back. If you have any questions, go ahead and put the questions, and I'll answer them as I get back. All right, sorry about that, guys. We are going to get back into it after I get a quick drink because I've been talking for 30 minutes. It's a nice, bright pink water bottle. One of the athletes at the high school got me. Very thankful of. It's definitely been helping me get my water in. Okay, where are we at? Now that does not look right. Yes, it does. Okay, it just looks a little bit different because we're on the calendar now. Okay, perfect. So I'm not going to actually do the weights because I don't want to go into each individual calendar with you. But so this is the main calendar, if you will, and we're going to take this and this. So this template really will not change. It'll just change for each athlete rather. So this next template that we're going to show you real quick, which or not template, this next group that I'm going to put us in is going to be a little bit different for the most part. Okay, so we're going to paste this and it's going to stay, it's actually going to change quite a lot, to be honest, because I think these athletes here are going to benefit more from doing kind of the more of the same movements more often than not. So this will be a little bit of a challenge to get back through here and change all of this. So what we're going to do here is use the nice find and replace tool. And for this one, what we're going to do is we're going to replace the SSB 12-inch with the SSB box squat 16-inch. SN3. Okay. We're going to do that first once again. And then we're also going to go back through and then actually change all of the rep schemes for this one. Okay. So again, that was the main template that I wanted to kind of have you all watch me build. The rest of this will be still very similar, but again, just a slight difference in terms of what they're doing for the squat and the bench press. Okay, so even the bench press will end up staying as the BMT, the brief maximal tension, and the main squat, which I think will benefit, again, these athletes more than anything. Getting more reps with the same movement will hopefully be better for them. Okay, and then I'll change the dumbbell jumps and things later on my own without the live stream going on, again, because I don't want to go into all of the calendars with you all. But if you have questions about like what I'm going to do and how the dumbbell jumps might change between athlete to athlete, I would love to answer any questions you all might have. Now, so what I am going to do is kind of keep, we'll go through all the squat first, but what I am going to do with the squat is keep it at a higher range, kind of like the close grip bench press. So the board press will not, or the close grip board press, sorry. The close grip board press is really not going under 3, right? So it will not be going under 3. And I'm going to kind of keep that same idea with the squat for and bench press for this other group here with the BMT group, okay? So we're going to go 5, then 4, and then we are going to go back down to 3, which is already is set up for me right there. So 5, where we at? 5, 4, 3, in 4, 3. Okay, so double check 3, 4, 5 right there. And then again, I'll have to go back through in just a moment and um, double check all the sets and reps to make sure they're not all over the place, but that looks good there. Okay. So we're looking pretty good. I believe we'll go through and check it. The only thing I'll need to change is these. It doesn't want to be a rep max. It should just be like an RP9. Again, that's just an easy way for me to put RP9 for everything to make sure they know that like it is supposed to be difficult. But again, most of them will have their own assigned weights for them specifically. So again, we'll double check this box squat 3, or we have 5, 4, 3, 4, 5, 3. So we have a smaller jump here because I want them to finish with a very, very heavy set on the end of the cycle. Now we'll go back through for the bench press and kind of do that same style. Okay, so we're gonna go 3, 5. Okay, go 3, 4. Okay, so 5, 4, 3. Good. Change the RPE 9. And I will fix the fact that it's close grip chain in just one moment. Did not think about that. 9. Okay. And hopefully you all cannot hear the storm outside of my house right now. It's kind of bad at the moment, actually. Um, and I am living in a trailer, so there's a chance this could get blown away, but doubtful. Okay. And I got rid of the set. Believe it or not, I do know how to use this software. It's just sometimes that my brain decides to not to fight against me. But that is okay because we're gonna get it figured out. We're almost there. 3 by 3. Same thing again, like what I said with the squat. And RPE 9. Perfect. Okay. So this will be kind of their main movements again. Accessories will stay the same because across the board, all of our athletes need kind of that same setup. Now what we'll have to do is change the sumo deadlift because I don't want them doing rep maxes on this one at the moment. I do want them to kind of take that same progression as kind of like the barbell RDL where they're doing more sets, but I'm only going to have them do 2 instead. And where are we at? 15. Here we go. So we're going to do 2 sets of 5, okay, because we're going to follow the squat, okay? So then we'll just pull pretty heavy from the ground for just a couple sets after. Again, these are all going to be working sets. Same thing, we're going to go 3, RPE 9. Then once again, 2 sets, and we'll do 3 there. With the RDLs, I'm okay with having a little bit more sets because it doesn't seem to be as taxing, not pulling off the ground. But that should be it. Again, we'll go back through, change this close grip versus one chain real quick. So close grip versus one chain will be changed to bench press. Keep them all the same. Okay, change this to RPE 9. Perfect. So this looks relatively good now, I believe. We're going to go through one more time and check it all out. So we have a 5, 4, a 3, 4, and a 5, 3. So 5, 4, 3, 4, 5, 3. Perfect. Bench press, same thing. We'll change that to an RPE of 9. 5, 4, 3, 4, 5, 3. Perfect. Again, keeping that BMT the same. Again, getting more volume, more heavy volume on them. Well, I think will benefit them a lot, and they're getting more practice with the movement in general too. Again, this is the kind of the younger or newer athletes that are coming into the gym that I'll put in this, and then they'll transition into more of this other program, which we can compare the two real quick. Again, don't know why that's like that. But again, for these older athletes, we're just going to have them, or more, the athletes have been in the gym a little bit longer, and slightly older athletes. We're going to put them on more of a rep max type of deal versus the brief maximal tension. And I think that'll help more. And I'm kind of experimenting again, like I said, with this 12-inch plus 6-inch foam box squat. I had done the speed squats in the past, but this will be straight weight, and we're going to go down very low to what we've been doing. So again, we'll see how that goes and how the athletes react. I'm really hoping it will help benefit the jumps and the sprints a little bit more by getting a little bit lower. But we'll see, especially when it comes to getting down there. And we're going to be a little bit more, or I guess I will be a little bit more strict when it comes to making sure they are pausing for a good 1 to 2 count. Versus some of the other box squats. I emphasized to kind of slow down a little bit off the box, but again, I'm trying to do a little bit better and not letting them use the boxes such as a rebound tool. But anyway, this is pretty much all of the programming. I don't have any super huge changes I need to make based off this, but I will double check everything one more final time. But if you all do not have any questions, I have a meeting here in about 45 minutes that I'm going to prepare for. So I'll stay around for another 10 minutes or so, unless some more, if any comments come in through. But I will just double check everything real quick, and then I'll probably get out of here. Okay. Get another drink of water too. So for all you that have showed up and stayed for quite a while, I appreciate you tuning in. We're gonna try to do these at least once a week to start, and then maybe when summer's kind of honestly a busier schedule for me at the moment. But maybe once summer either dies down or things like that, we might go into multiple times a week. But at least on Sundays, I plan to do these programs. And this is also a good time to plug. You guys will be able to actually pick up this specific program, and we'll do this in person. The conjugate program that we do, I'm calling it the conjugate program. I know, for if anyone actually understands the conjugate out there, this is definitely not actual, Westside Barbell conjugate program, but kind of falls in line with the principles, but has conjugate in the basis of everything. Give me one moment. But you will be able to pick up this program sooner rather than later. Probably after the stream, I'll get it up and running, and you guys should be able to pick that up in the I'll put it probably in the description of the chat. Give me 1 second, and I'll actually do that right now. A little off stream, so you guys can't steal all of my money, hopefully. Share store. Yes, so I'll put the link in the description as well as the chat here. Okay, you should be able to hopefully click on that link. That'll bring you up to my store. That'll be under the templates, and I'll probably just put it stream 1, or I'll probably date it for the template, what I have the template dated as, which was, where are we at here? The Sunday stream template did not pop up. So we'll get it figured out. I'll make sure it's linked here and in the description of this video. But you can always also click the link at the bio of the YouTube channel to get to the store and look at all the templates that you might want, which are obviously completely free. But I appreciate y'all tuning in. I am going to go ahead and get out of here. If you have any questions, feel free to either message me, comment down below, and I'll get back to it, or message me on Instagram. So I'll talk to y'all later and have a good one.